Okay.
Guys, I'll be right back.
Sure. You know, Mars is the closest place that we can reach with robotic exploration that we think had a really good chance of having ancient life.
The Perseverance rover will land at a location called Jezreel Crater. Jezreel Crater is a very interesting place. It's a crater that once held a lake.
There are a lot of craters on the surface of Mars that could have once hosted ancient lakes, but not every crater that we think had a lake actually preserves evidence that that lake was there.
It had an inflow channel and it had an outflow channel. That means it was filled, the crater was filled with water.
In Jezreel, we have probably one of the most beautifully preserved delta deposits on Mars in that crater.
This is a wonderful place to live for microorganisms, and it is also a wonderful place for those microorganisms to be preserved so that we can find them now so many billions of years later.
There is no other place on Mars that has the unique combination of a lake setting, a beautifully preserved delta, and the diverse mineralogy that we have in Jezreel Crater. So it's truly a special landing site.
The major goal of the Perseverance mission is to investigate astrobiology on Mars, and in particular, to address the question of whether life ever existed on Mars. The Perseverance rover starts with a design that's very similar to Curiosity, but we've added to it a whole new set of science instruments. And these science instruments were purposefully selected to help us in the search for biosignatures.
We're going to be taking microphones with us. For the first time, we're going to have that human sense on another planet.
Perseverance carries with her a grand experiment in spacefaring technology, a helicopter, the name of which is now Ingenuity.
One of the major upgrades that Perseverance has from Curiosity is that it's able to self-drive for a distance of up to 200 meters per day. As the rover is driving, it's literally building the map of the road it's driving on Mars.
Scientists for years have told us that to really unlock the secrets of Mars, we have to bring samples from Mars back to Earth.
So what Mars 2020 is going to do is to drill samples, put them in small tubes. We're going to seal it in its own individual tube. We set them on the surface to provide a target for the second two missions, which hopefully will get in development in the next several years and could potentially get the samples back to Earth by 2031.
Perseverance is a very, very profound first step in both our understanding of our place in the universe and a stepping stone towards human exploration on Mars.
Well, hello everybody. This is Scott Roberts with Explore Scientific. This is the Explore Alliance live presentation of the OpenGOTO community. Our special guest today is Rodrigo Zelada, but also with me is Jerry Hubbell and Tyler Bowman. And I wanted to bring Rodrigo on today because he shared with me this beautiful image of this nebula, the Tarantula Nebula, and I thought that we'd bring Rodrigo on so he could share that image with us and talk a little bit about it. Rodrigo, I'm going to give you the stage here, okay? And here we go. How are you doing today, anyhow? Is everything okay?
Hi, Scott. I'm okay, I'm fine.
Good.
The last night, I put the telescope in my backyard and take the picture for the Tarantula Nebula. This is a giant nebula in the other galaxy. The Tarantula Nebula is not in the Milky Way. It's in the other galaxy, Large Magellanic Cloud.
Right? The Large Magellanic Cloud. Yes.
Yes, it's very, very large nebula. about
How big? How
100.
many degrees? How many degrees do you think that the Tarantula
If
Nebula?
the Tarantula Nebula put in the position of the Orion Nebula,
Yeah.
give us 70 degrees of the sky. It's very, very, very large.
Very large.
I take a picture with my Explore Scientific 4-inch Apple. I work for the PMS-8 mount XVIII with ASCOM controller and again by ASCOM and QHE camera. Okay. Well, in Chile, I live in La Serena and I have a shop of telescope, and every night when the weather is the night is clear without the cloud, I take picture for my backyard, different object and very impressive with the telescope. And I share you my last picture for the Tarantula Nebula. This picture is
The name of your shop in La Serena is called North Optics.
Yes, my shop is North Optics.
Yes.
Now, do you see the picture now?
Yes. It's beautiful.
This is my last picture. Is 4 hours of integration.
4 hours.
What was it shot with, Rodrigo? What camera?
QHE
QHY.
or color camera. 50 shot of 5 minute each. In 4 hours in total.
Wow.
I work
50 frames. Okay.
dual narrow band filter for the nebula is a principal format for the hydrogen and oxygen.
Oxygen.
This is the principal gas of this nebula, and this area is you see the tile of the structure.
Yeah, look at that.
This is
That's really spectacular.
This is the Tarantula
Big deal.
Nebula, and this as another nebula of the galaxy of hydrogen. In this area, a few years ago, is a supernova 1986, and maybe 55 years ago.
55 years ago. Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
And this is the real field with the telescope with the QHE 294 camera. And this is
Wow.
I work in PixInsight. I integration and stacking in PixInsight, and I work with the principal commands of PixInsight for my imaging.
Well, I'm jealous. I want to go. I want to go back down to Chile and
Yes, let's go.
photograph this.
Let's go
Or maybe
now.
look at it with a big Dobsonian telescope or something. It's amazing.
Yes,
It's beautiful.
with the Dobsonian telescope, this nebula is wow. With the oxygen filter,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
incredible. Wow, it's beautiful. Very
Yes,
good job. Excellent focus and long exposure. Are you finished with the image at this time, or are you going to add more time to this image?
This image, I'll picture last night. From my house, this nebula is visible to the 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I prepare the telescope and connect everything software and click to the exposition, and I go to sleep.
You go to sleep. That's great.
The telescope works only all night. And in the morning, I go to the telescope, review the data and process the images, and I shared it with you this morning. This photo is great.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Wonderful. So Rodrigo, you are going to be on the next Global Star Party tomorrow night. So we're looking forward to having you on. Hopefully we have some clear sky. But you always have great images to show us, and so we're always really pleased to have you on the Global Star Party. So thank you for spending time with us today. And if any of you are in Chile, you'll want to stop by North Optics in La Serena and check out his shop. And definitely, if you're interested in astrophotography, you're going to want to connect with Rodrigo, because he's a real expert in making images like this. So I know he loves it, and he does educational outreach programs in his city, and so it's he's a good man. So, anyways, thank you so much, Rodrigo. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
All right, and take care. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Okay. So, how's it going, guys?
I'm jealous. I'll never see that ever until I go to the Southern Hemisphere. I'll never see it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, it's so gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah. Once we're able to travel again, I mean, for the cost of
the 20-inch Dob is what I want to see it through.
Oh,
that's
why stop at 20?
Shipping.
That's all we got.
20-inch Dob down to Chile is that's where the dinero is gonna come in, right? So
yeah. Unless Rodrigo's knows somebody that has a bigger one than 20.
Yeah, maybe you can talk Rodrigo into buying one and then letting you use it. You can go make a dealer call down in.
I like that. I like that, Scott.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll love that area. There's that town and the little town that's in between there and the CTIO Observatory Complex.
Mm-hmm.
I always forget the name of this little town, but it's an astronomer's town. It's where all the professional astronomers live, and you see murals done on the sides of the walls, and it's all astronomically themed and everything. It's really cool. So they're very, very proud of their dark sky heritage down there, and astrotourism's a big deal down in Chile. So a big deal. We have the Global Star Party happening tomorrow with Dave Meiker. I talked to him a little bit earlier today. That he's on this 17 part series with us, and this is just install number 2 tomorrow night. And so he said, I don't want to get you depressed, Scott, but this time is going to be about the death of the sun. I go, okay. I said, try to make it sound uplifting somehow.
We should all live so long.
You got time. You have time. Don't worry. It's not going to happen right away. So
we should all live so long, right?
Right. Oh yeah, that's right. So, yeah, but that process, of course, of stars coming to an end stars are churning out elements like crazy, and when
It's a great recycling.
huge recycling, and richer and more complex stars and systems come out of that. So I think it was Jack Newton that told me that he had learned that our sun is something like a fourth generation star.
Really?
So,
Is it? Oh, that's cool.
yeah. So it's taken several generations to get to
I didn't realize it was that many. I
Oh yeah,
always
with all
assumed it was like the first one after the supernova we got formed, but that's not the case.
right. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. So I'm looking forward to we've got several people that have not been on for a while.
Is Dave Ing on?
What's that?
You see Dave Ing in the list?
Dave Ing is, I know he's going to be at the star party. He told me he would be. Let's see who's here today.
Is he on today? You think he's on today?
I don't know. Let's find out. We got Arita Durguti is on, Dale Beasley, Tyler Bowman, which he's on both in video and on chat, Tim Myers, Ron Delvo, Mario Ubila. He says, Saludos, Rodriguez, Zelada. Yes. Richard Grace is on. He'll be on, I'm sure. Marco Polo's on. Let's see. Mike Wiesner. Somebody's having a birthday, though. Who is it? Dale Beasley's having a birthday. So happy birthday to you, Dale Beasley.
Now buy something.
No, we're supposed to all buy something for him. So that's right.
Oh, I've already maxed. I've done my buying for the month.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So have you sent out the telescope already?
Yeah, I sent it out Friday.
Okay.
Bought it last week. It went out Friday. So hopefully the kid in England will be happy.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Well, that's great. Who else is here? James the Astrophotographer. Michael Whitaker.
Is Kent listening to the show?
I don't know. He might be lurking in the background.
If
Aaron
he's
Thompson.
Ask him to send me David Ing's email address.
I have it.
Do you?
I have it too. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, send it to me. I sent his book off today. That's why I want to send him an email.
Oh, okay. Okay. Aaron Thompson, he says, some news, they found larger quantities on the moon, of water on the moon, than they thought they would. Still only about 1 kilogram of water and several thousand kilograms of rock, but it is something. Yeah, it is incredible. Which crater was it again? Clavius? I can't remember which crater that they had studied this, the detection of water. It's pretty amazing.
I thought it was at the South Pole. Is it Clavius that they found some also?
That's where I think it was. Could be wrong. That's cool. It's like every day there's some sort of major discovery, something that's going on, It's just totally cool. I Shoot Astro is on. He says hello. Astro J, howdy do.
There you go, Jerry. I sent you an email.
Phil Stark.
Okay, thanks.
I've been to Vicuna, to do my images. I think that's the name of the little town, Vicuna, that I'm thinking of. That's in Chile. Very dark, crazy skies. It's great. I Shoot Astro has a question. Does anyone know what a good gain and offset setting is for a ZWO ASI 183 MC Pro in a dark sky site? I do not know that answer.
I know the QHY.
You know that, Tyler?
Set it at 100, 120 and work back. 120 is a good offset.
And then work it back from there? I see. Does anyone think that the guys in the southern hemisphere drool over the northern hemisphere targets? Not much. When I went to Chile for the eclipse, we had some nights there because we were setting up over. We had 3 days of setup and 3 nights as well. And they basically say we don't have a Milky Way in the northern hemisphere, because you go down there and the Milky Way's the bulk of it is straight overhead, and it's just amazing. And to see the large and small Magellanic Clouds, I mean, they are just spectacular. The Large Magellanic Cloud, where the Tarantula Nebula is huge in the sky. It is, it was so much bigger than what I expected, so.
I think the only thing that they're jealous of is the fact that we have Polaris and they don't.
That makes it easier. Well, some of the stuff they can't see is like the Whirlpool Galaxy. They'd like to see that, okay?
How about Andromeda? They can't
Andromeda might be a tough object for them. They'd like to see that, of course.
That's like a door prize for us, though. They've got the whole other... They got the whole Magellanic Clouds and all.
Right.
We get the door prize.
If I took you guys down there and let you guys just spend 6 months in Chile and 6 months up here...
if you pay me, sure.
You would not want to trade the southern hemisphere for the northern hemisphere. Let's just put it that way, okay? So,
I don't know.
Canny Lucas says he's in the south of Chile and he cannot see Andromeda. M33 might be a tough object as well. So there's some galaxies. I mean, we do have some cool stuff up here, But and of course they'd like to see it. But I somehow get the impression it's more like a novelty for them to see it, versus really, so much rich sky down there. So many.
That's an interesting question. Well, that's an interesting question. What latitude on the Earth is the best to see everything, or the most? Is it at the equator, or is it
I think
a
it's
little
at the
further
equator.
south? I mean, can you bias it a little bit to the south and still have most of the good objects from the north? I mean,
well, we can see from any vantage point, you can see roughly 60 to 70% of the whole sky. Okay, so there's just parts of it that are hidden from view, depending on where you are. I think that the reason why the Palomar 200-inch was put where it is because it could get a huge chunk of the sky versus being down, someplace else. But the other part of it was travel. Getting astronomers back and forth, and we didn't have remote astronomy going on at the time that they're doing all that stuff, of course. So having easy access to observatories was a big deal. If you go to Mount Wilson, you can still see the rail. They had an inclined train that would go up from Caltech down in Pasadena all the way up to the top, right up where about where the 60-inch telescope is. The inclined train would stop right at the monastery where you go and put your suitcase or whatever if you were going to spend a few nights at Mount Wilson. And I thought that was very cool. Over the years, of course, they dismantled it, and then they finally, I think the Forest Service dynamited the area right where the inclined train tracks were. They didn't want anybody messing around with it because of the danger. But there was a once upon a time, so. Phil Stark says, I had great deep sky object image I had great DSO while imaging in Namibia, about 20 degrees south, super dark skies. Yeah, we're all jealous. We're all jealous.
Jerry, there's a question that you'd answer it better than I can. What does offset really do for deep astronomy cameras?
Offset is a way to add a pedestal for the noise floor. When you combine images, if you didn't put any kind of bias on the 0 point, you could have the noise. You wouldn't get the full spectrum of noise to be able to measure it accurately. You need to be able to see the noise plus or minus a value, plus basically a level plus or minus the noise. Okay, So that means you have to bias it up to a certain level. And typically the offset's pretty small. I'm familiar with QHY cameras, and I put the offset to where when you do your bias frame, you're getting around 500 to 1,000 counts. Okay. If you put the offset too low, then you'll get you won't get the full measurement of the noise, basically is what it comes down to. So you need to do a little bit. So I would just set it to like a value of 10. Like on the QHY cameras, it's a value of 10 that gives me about 500 to 600 counts on the bias frame as the average, and then the noise level is plus or minus from that.
Good deal.
Yeah.
The question was from I Shoot Astro, and I didn't know how to explain it better than you did.
Okay. So Tyler, what's been going on with the forums?
Nothing really. There's a couple. There's one guy that's a little upset how his IXOS 100 isn't performing well, so I had to reiterate that he needs to check his PA. He needs to check his balance, just the normal
PA, polar alignment.
Polar alignment.
Yeah.
Had to run him through the normal Jerry Hubbell steps. Make sure he repeats everything the same time, the same way, over and over and over again.
Right.
Other than that, that's about it. I'm still waiting for people to send me email notifications so we can get with TeamViewer so I can help them make sure everything's set up in the PMC8 configuration manager.
Okay.
So they can communicate with their mounts. I've talked to Miss Kelly Friday. Got her
Kelly.
Maura Kelly. She's supposed to order the FTDI chip cable set.
Okay.
That'll fix her problem right now. Just right when she gets it, it'll fix it.
Okay, good.
So that'll fix that. And then I'm waiting for a mount to come in so I can take a look at it and take it home and troubleshoot it.
Very cool.
That's about it.
That's about it, huh? So
about it.
Quiet.
And very quiet.
Jerry, you told me that earlier today that you are about to release a new version of the firmware.
That's right. Wes and I have been working on some firmware changes that are going to work out for our customers. I'm writing a note to my daughter right now.
Dear daughter, buy a telescope from Explore Scientific.
Yeah, she's visiting us this week, so it's good to have her here.
Sure.
And so yeah, we've been working on some changes. One of the things, well, there's different things that are in the PMC8 system that we do in the configuration manager. We use the configuration manager to switch the channels, the communication channel between Wi-Fi and serial. And we also, on the IXOS 100, we have to switch it between UDP and TCP networking and those types of things. So one of the things that we're trying to move towards is more of a universal firmware to where it will do these things automatically in some respects, and then also it will the other thing is motor currents are different for each mount, depending on if it's a G11 or an XOS2 or an IXOS 100. And we want to be able to select the mount on the ASCOM driver, let's say, or an Explore Stars, and it'd say, oh, this is what it needs to set the motor current to. Right now we have different firmware. So it's really moving towards a more universal firmware where it's just one set of source code.
Right.
That will apply to all the mounts. So that's the kind of improvements we've been working on recently, and we're going to be rolling out here in the next week, hopefully, the changes for doing the switch for the motor current. It'll do that. Also for the Wi-Fi switch to serial, it's going to be much easier and quicker for people. You basically won't have to use the configuration manager. You know how we use the Wi-Fi channel changer device to change the channel on the Wi-Fi?
Yes.
You'll be able to do the same thing with that device. Plug it in. Basically, what you'll do is you'll plug it in, you'll power up your PMC8, and it will switch between serial and Wi-Fi for you. you won't have to go to Configuration Manager any longer to do that. So
Oh, that's cool.
so you'll just so if you want to switch communications port, you'll just boot up with that dongle and it'll switch it, and then you'll pull it out and you'll be on serial, or you'll be on back on Wi-Fi.
Right.
So you won't have to do anything with a program separately. So that's a big benefit, I think.
Very nice. Very nice. So we have a couple of questions here. Dale Beasley is asking, do I need to upgrade firmware if I'm using a serial cable and my laptop?
Right now, there's only the most recent firmware that we have available. It depends on when you bought your PMC8 system, but I would suggest everybody get what's out there right now, because there have been earlier this year we corrected a couple of issues that you may or may not run into. It actually, this last issue we corrected, we've been out for 3 years and finally somebody identified it. So it's not like you're going to run into it every day or even over a year or two.
Yeah, if it took
you may
3
never
years
run into it.
run into a problem. That's
right, but you may run into it, so it's out there for you to upgrade. So I would say if you can, go ahead and upgrade, get your cable. You're going to want to do that eventually anyway, especially with these changes we're going to be putting out soon also. Most of the changes that we've done on the firmware are optional, but the last 1 or 2 of them have been kind of mandatory, but maybe not. It depends. If you don't run into the problem, you'll never have a problem. But if you do, then it's a problem, and you want to correct it with the firmware change. So
yeah. Well, it's always good to have the latest stuff, right?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I Shoot Astro says, my next telescope will 1000% be an ES ED102. Your scopes are the best from what my research shows. And then he says, if I can get my hands on one this year, sadly I will not be able to use it till next September. Well, hopefully.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
If he's got it.
That is sad.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe he's planning on it being cloudy that whole time, and it might
be. That'd be horrible.
That'd be horrible. That's right.
Living in Seattle, Washington.
I know. We've got, you and I have worked on this scope for a while now. Okay, and it's all set, ready to go, and everything. And what do we got? We got rain. It's rained all day today. It's going to rain all day tomorrow. So don't think I'm going to. I don't think it clears off until I don't know when.
Until after you
get
rid
of this week or something. So.
Right. We had rain earlier.
Right. Yeah. So, but Stefan says my ES ED102 is the best telescope I have ever owned. Got some really great images with it. Thank you. That's very nice for you to say. The summers are all sun in Alaska, so I don't get any dark skies till September. But you could do this, okay? You could do this. We have the cure for that too. Actually, Explore Scientific doesn't. But this is a Lunt H-alpha system right here. And I plan to use this on those telescopes back there as well. So we made a couple of adapters to attach it onto the front of the telescope. But this is a Lunt LS50 hydrogen alpha system. And I'm anxious to get started with that as well. So
yeah, that looks like a nice device.
Yeah, it is.
That's a big, what is that, like 60 millimeter?
This one's a 50.
50?
Yeah, this one's a 50. So
where does that go on the telescope?
Well, we 3D printed these adapters. So this I suppose for a fee. We could 3D print something up for you guys too, but this just threads on the back.
That just goes right like a flange on the back of the.
Yeah, and so we have set screws, you
I
know,
see.
and the kind of
Yep.
3D material or 3D printing material that we have is very durable, and so you know, it doesn't replace a metal machine part, but
And
probably
the
you could
focuser goes on the back side of that.
So this goes onto the front of the telescope, okay, and you just attach it with the set screws
Oh,
here,
I see.
and then you put this diagonal onto the back, and so that slides in the 2-inch barrel, and you got 1.25 inches. So
I
that's
see.
a blocking filter right there.
I see.
So
Okay.
the telescope would be, there we go, something like this. So I have an adapter for the 102 and also for the 80.
Cool.
That's my evil plan when, you know, I too am prevented from doing deep sky stuff. So
That looks like it should be less expensive than buying a dedicated solar scope.
it is. Well, this kind of system though, you got a really versatile setup. So, you know, Deepti in Nepal, I keep mentioning her and her team, that they don't have a telescope. So I'm thinking that, you know, we could set them up to do some solar imaging and some planetary imaging and
Yeah.
some deep sky imaging, and just let them get a taste of what all that's all about. So I'm excited to get that going.
Right.
But they got this all prepared for me because I was going to carry, you know, this whole setup to Argentina with me for the December eclipse, which I don't think I'm going to at this point because of the pandemic. But I'll be ready for the next eclipse, you know. So can't go to them all.
Yeah. That's right.
Right?
You have to live to see the next one.
Yes,
As long as you can get away with it.
that's right. That's right. Is the Lunt tunable? Yes, Mike, it is. It is tunable. I believe it is. Double check it. Yeah. It's got a little tuner right there. So you just run that back and forth. Is chromatic aberration a factor with that adapter in an AR102? No, it's not, Dale, because when you're doing solar work, you're working with monochromatic light. So you don't need an APO, you know. So that's, you'll
Right.
see some really great solar work being done with the AR series, you know, because there is no chromatic aberration, you know, when you're working with, you know, monochromatic light. So,
And even with lunar planetary, you don't care about field curvature because you're correcting,
no,
you're doing video and you're correcting the distortions of the atmosphere. So you don't care anybody. You could buy. I'm curious what kind of results you would get with the Galileo scope. Gary
I
could
just
do
pulled the
that.
Galileo scope off my desk. I'd had one up there for a long time.
Yeah. I don't know if
We're
you could stick that on the front of the Galileo scope at all.
right. Yeah, they're getting ready to put the Galileo scope in a gift guide for this holiday season. So I think it's pretty cool. But you know, looking forward to tomorrow night's Global Star Party. Again, Deepti will be back on if you enjoyed her first install. She's having a 3-part series, so that's really cool. And of course, we have Libby and the Stars. Dave Ing will be on. Richard Grace will be on. We have a number of people that have said that they would join us, and so it should be a good overall star party. You'll see Rodrigo Zelada down in Chile, and probably Cesar Brolo as well will be on. So those guys are always trying to get us some live views from the Southern Hemisphere. And I think that's all we have for today. Anything else you'd like to add, Sherry?
No, I'm hoping my weather's going to be okay tomorrow too. So
Yeah.
I've got to figure out what I want to do at the MSRO tomorrow night.
Yeah. Wes McDonald says water on the moon and Clavius crater. Yeah. I know. It's a big, that's a big piece of news right there. So,
right.
Yeah. So, and I'm actually starting to get sort of pretty excited about 2024 rolling around because, not only will we have a total eclipse race across the United States, but we're supposed to have boots on the moon, okay, in 2024.
That would be pretty awesome.
Our first moon base, something that should have happened a long time ago, I believe. When I talked to Buzz Aldrin about it, he said yes. It's been long overdue. That we should have taken those next steps and put something permanent up there. But it's our next step to Mars, and I have no doubt that we'll get there as well. I just I hope I'm still around to see that happen.
Still kicking, yeah, that's right.
Right. Anyhow.
That's right.
Yep. So you guys have a good evening. Thanks for watching. And tomorrow we're going to have a new show on. We're going to change things up a little bit. We've had requests to do programs on getting started in astronomy. And so we're going to have something called the FirstLight Chronicles. Kent Martz is going to do them with me. And, it's all about how to get started with your first telescope and, and how people do outreach with telescopes, that kind of thing. Really some of the beginning part of it, the inspirational part about it. And how to choose and use, your first scope, that kind of thing. And help beginners understand what they can expect and what they can't expect. That's a big thing, is managing expectations. Right. Yeah, that's right. So, that's right. Well, there's a lot of people that do expect to see, if they've never had a telescope before or even looked through a telescope, they sometimes expect to see like Hubble Space Telescope type views, and that doesn't happen. But the miracle of seeing things like the rings of Saturn or the fossil light of a galaxy or, the complexity of the Orion Nebula, that kind of thing, that's, as long as you know what you're looking at and have some interpretation of that and you have somebody kind of taking you under their wing, I think those are all important parts about getting involved in this. So anyways, we'll see you tomorrow and with a new program, and then Jerry will be back on. He'll be back on with me for OpenGOTO community shows on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And then we're going to do the FirstLight Chronicles on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So until that time,
great.
Yeah. Take care and keep looking up. And we will see you mañana. So here we go.